Oh my goodness. If you are watching this, that means that you've made it all the way to day 3, which means you really love me because my first two cards were weird and not traditional. But this one here, I think this one here might get a few likes. I think people might enjoy this card. I worked hard for it, but it was so much fun doing it. So I'm using the Nutcracker stamp and dies from Stamplistic. I love Stamplistic. They have some really neat concepts for stamps, and I just don't showcase them enough. I need to showcase all of their things because I really do love their company. Great customer service, such a warm welcome whenever you see them, and that's important with these small businesses that you guys really feel the love. At least it's important to me. So here I'm using my Tim Holtz platform and I am using Memento Tuxedo Black ink, which is a Copic friendly ink. Gosh, I colored with the Copics again. I am really doing a lot of coloring lately. I'm surprised because that's not usually my zhuzh. I might do a lot of ink blending, but not a lot of Copic blending. I'm using the stamp platform, so I'm able to stamp it again in the same spot just to make it a little bit darker. And there it is, nice and bold. I think his name is Pistachio. They're all named after nuts. Cashews, pistachios. I don't know. Go on their website, look up Nutcracker, and find the one that you like. They have several different styles. This one right here just called my name. I am a fan. So I flipped the cardstock over and stamped it again. I wasn't sure how many pieces I was going to be cutting out because we'll be doing a technique called paper piecing today. I do a lot of paper piecing with my Cricut, and now I'm going to doing it with my Gemini. I am using the sparkly paper. You guys have all seen this paper at Michael's. It costs you $2 if you don't get it on sale. And to stamp on it, I use my VersaFine ink. That was a fail. I should have tried the Tuxedo Memento, the black, the Tuxedo Black by Memento. It might have seeped into the paper. Now this gives great definition right off the bat. However, it never actually dried on the paper properly. So I had a lot of smudging. I had it coming off on everything. It was really a mess. The same thing with this glitter paper. I think I should have used either Stays On or Memento Tuxedo Black ink. Do not use your VersaFine on this. I did, and I made it work, but I worked hard for it. It came out great. It will be fine. However, don't do that. So then I stamped it on a gray sheet of paper, and it was just one of those sheets from Michaels. Again, I'm going through all my Michaels paper trying to get rid of it. I haven't figured out who's going to be my next paper, but it might be Hero Arts or Gina K Designs. I don't know. We'll see. We shall see. On this black paper, I am using my VersaFine Versamark ink, not VersaFine, my Versamark ink, which is just a clear sticky ink, so that I can heat emboss this guy in black. So I'm doing black on black for this. And I'm using Judykin's fine detail powder. And look, it worked pretty good because this is a very detailed stamp. I wasn't sure how well that powder was going to take to the design, and it took pretty well. We never want to throw away our excess. We pour it right back into the jar and put that to the side. Dust it off and make sure the heat gun is hot, which is what I'm doing right now. Just letting it heat up a little bit. And now we're going to heat. I should have heated from the back some more to make sure not to blow off all of that fine detail. But it worked out good because the area that I was really going to want for this were the shoes. So with paper piecing, you basically take your image, have it in a bunch of different colors, and then piece it back together. I wanted my guy to be a little black guy. However, I don't think I got him dark enough, really. I mean, he's okay, but I really wanted him a little darker. And I decided to give him gray hair, and I love the way he came out. He is a cutie patootie. So for the grays, I think I'm using the cool grays for that. Either the cool grays or the neutral. So now I'm grabbing the first die. Do not be intimidated by this. You do whatever you want. You do whatever you feel. I grabbed the very first one and just cut out the regular guy. No color or anything like that because I was thinking I was going to build on him initially. You'll see as we go along. Next step, I'm taking the one that does the face and the chin. So each of these dies cuts out a different portion of the the little Nutcracker. And you just have to decide which pieces you want to cut out. You don't have to cut them all out. You can simply stamp him and color him or do whatever you want. The reason why I'm cutting him out in different pieces is because it looks kind of cool when you pop it up and give him some dimension. I like it. So now out of the face that I just cut, I'm cutting off his mouth and his beard. Again, this set comes with 13 different pieces, which is a lot. But don't be intimidated by it. At first I was like, what am I going to do with all these pieces? How am I going to know what to cut? It makes no difference. You do what you want to do. So at this point, I've cut off his head, which left his hair. He's got a head, and now I've taken off his mouth. So see, look there. Now I'm getting ready to cut his nose. I could have cut it from a different piece. I could have cut it from brown cardstock. I could have cut it from pink cardstock. I can do whatever I want to do, but I'm deciding to cut into the piece that I Copic colored. And I'm using my Gemini Junior to do this, which is a dream. I mean, that sucker worked. I'm very, very pleased with how it's performing. I have a Cuttlebug and a Spellbinders, and I do not even pull them out anymore. I really want the large Gemini. The Gemini Junior is cool. It's getting the job done, but I think I want a bigger one so that I can cut just about anything. So there you see I've got the nose. So you just got to make sure you don't lose your pieces after you cut them because that nose is a tiny one. Now I'm deciding, I thought this was a hand. This is not a hand. This is a shoulder pad. Don't cut this. This was a fail. I didn't actually do it, but I caught it. I was like, something's not right. I was like, what is this? Those are the shoulder pads. Don't do that. So for this one, I'm cutting the other body. You'll see when I peel it apart. So the hands came off and the hair came off, okay? So now I have 2 hand pieces and the hair, and there's the rest of the body right there. So that was the piece that I originally colored. So now I have a bunch of little pieces. Now I'm cutting out the body again, the same piece that I did before. I'm doing it one more time, but I'm doing it in gray because I want his outfit to be in gray. Now I'm getting ready to go get the shoes and the belt. So this is the belt, and these are the shoes, and I decided that I wanted them to be in black. And I'm building on the all white guy still. So I like to build onto a base of the entire image so that I kind of know where I'm going. There are different ways to do this. This is just the way that I've chosen to do it. So with the boots, I'm taping it down using purple tape, and I cut out the little shoes. And then I cut out the bodice again using this. You see how it transferred onto that dye? Yeah, that's going to happen a few times. And I had to clean the dye off with alcohol. And not a huge deal, but I lost so much definition in this piece here and the pink piece. Not a huge deal. So I'm getting ready to put all my pieces together. And even though I'm building on this white guy, and you might not see very much of him, I just wanted to throw down some color just in case you're looking at him from the side. And also, whenever you're paper piecing, you go around your entire image with black. It just helps it to blend into the background better. So you see, I didn't do a great coloring job. I just wanted to not let him be stark white in the background. So I want the jacket and his clothes to be gray. So I cut off the boots because I had already cut the boots before. So I just cut it off with my scissors. And I'm making this what I want it to be. It's like playing with dress up with dolls. That's exactly what it's like doing. And it's so much fun. I really enjoyed this. Might make another one later on in the series. We'll see how much time I have, which is none. So I know that I wanted the sleeves and his pants to be gray. I wanted the shoes to be black, so I'm putting the boots on right here. And it gets fun when you start popping stuff up. So I think after this, I pulled out all of my foam dots. You see them in the top left-hand corner? I have black dots. I have just regular foam. I've got a little bit of everything. I think for this one, I used mostly black dots, and I cut them down to size and played with them and that kind of thing. So I'm placing the dots down on the back of the shoes, trying to make sure that nothing is sticking out. And I'm using black just because it's a little less conspicuous. And they fit pretty good right on those shoes. And I put them down and I went to push them down, and I think the tip just was bending a little too much. So I needed to put some foam behind the tip. So I cut one of those dots in half and just stuck them down. And now I'm cutting off just what I need. I wanted his jacket to be pink. I don't know why I hate the color pink, but I thought this would be a cute card in pink and silvers. I don't know why. Because again, I am not a pink girl. So I just cut out the pieces that I wanted, and now I'm literally piecing it back together. That's where you're getting paper piecing from. Of course, my super long nails, I need tweezers. I suggest you do it with tweezers too. It's just easier. And again, make sure you outline everything in black. It will, or whatever color you stamped it in originally, it'll just blend so much better to look seamless. So remember, I used my scissors to cut this out. This is not a die piece. I just knew that I wanted certain pieces to be certain colors. So I am piecing it together. And I also glued the hair down and that beard down so they're flat. There's no dimension at this point yet on the face or the beard. Did I pop the beard up? No, I haven't done that yet. Oh, now I'm putting the hair on. Sorry, that was the background. You can tell my hair is a little different because it's got a little dimension to it. That's just how I colored it. Just throw color down. So now I'm putting the hair on after I put the jacket on, which means the hair sits in front of the jacket a little bit. And I was okay with that. So I'm putting the hair on. Remember, sometimes when you cut one piece, it will chop off other pieces. And I'm okay. Not a big deal. Because this is a paper piecing project. Now I'm thinking about it, and I was like, okay, we'll put the head on next. You can pop that head up. I don't think I popped the head up. No. But still, layering stuff gives it such a neat look. I could have popped the head up. I could have popped the nose up. And you can use foam. You can double your foam. The just possibilities are endless. Whatever you feel like you want to do, try it. Do it. Don't let anybody tell you you can't. I'm certainly not going to tell you you can't do that. You do whatever you want to do. Now the nose. I just love the nose. I use the black foam. I don't think I use any color foam outside of this black foam. So we'll put that down and then just plop his little nose on there. And you have a few seconds if you don't push it down too hard to adjust it the way you want. And so the nose is dimensional right now. The shoes are dimensional. And I believe I decided to make see, I'm going around the edges with black so that it blends in. And that's a black water-based marker. You can use your Copics too. That one just has a finer tip. And I popped this guy up. His beard was popped up. I started to pop out the mouth because the mouth is really what we know as far as the little guys to crack the nuts. And so I started to cut him out again, but I couldn't find a head that had it, so I was like, let it go. Move on. You can make another one day. So I put that guy down, and his belt apparently is already down. It's the shiny belt. Now I'm grabbing these pieces. They lost so much detail. I wanted that little whole part right there to be shiny, but it just lost too much detail because it was smearing all over the place. So I decided to use it as the crown. Not a big deal. Using art glitter glue, of course. Even though it's not glitter, that glitter glue works for just about everything and anything. I also cut the crown's band off in pink. Remember, when you stamp this guy on another sheet of paper, you can take any piece that you want and make it whatever you want it to be. You are not stuck to anything. I lost a lot of the detail with the striping in the shoulder pads, so I just cut that off so that it kept some of the detail and just used just the tip of it to make the very tops of the pads sparkly. Tops of the shoulder pads sparkly. So that way you can see that gray detail. Really like this color combo that I used. I wish that I had that paper from last year from Michaels. There's a pink paper stack that this would really go well with. They came out with the version 2 this year. I think I like the original better though, but it works. So now I'm putting his little hands on, and I pop those up with dimension. So now I think the nose is dimensional, the mouth is dimensional, the hands are dimensional, the feet are dimensional. And that guy is all done. So I always keep a Lenore or a Blanc stack around, which is just kind of really nice, all white or all black paper. And I was like, what paper can I use behind this guy? He needed a little texture. I also am using some flat halfback crystals. I'm using the clear ones, which is the only size. I couldn't find the super tiny ones in black. So I have some super tiny ones in clear that are going on the inside of his vest, on his uniform. And I really think these crystals make this. And the company Stamplistic is really big on Swarovskis. They sell tons of them. And so a lot of their designs really are, they work really well with Swarovski crystals or crystals in general. You don't have to necessarily use Swarovskis because these black ones are not that. The clear ones might be, but the black ones certainly aren't. Those are from Tall Mouse that I got for free because I spent $20. But I usually keep these around because I use black rhinestones on pretty much everything. Well, if I'm going to use rhinestones, I'm going to use black. And so I put it on the cuffs, the hat, the shoes, and I'm showing you that he's dimensional there. Now let's make the card base. I tried to do 7 1/4 because of this ruler. You really don't know where 7 1/4 is. So I'm always guessing. I hate that. That's the only thing I really don't like about this ruler. That and the blade gets dull, which seems like too fast. But and then I cut just a strip of this at 1 1/2. And then I went back and cut that piece in half because I knew I wanted to line that cardstock with on the card front. So I'm just cutting it in half. Got 2 strips. Again, I shot for 7 1/4, but I don't think it's perfectly 7 1/4. So what I'm doing is just squaring up all these pieces and getting the pieces that I want to use. This is 3 inches here. So the pattern paper is 3 inches. Now I'm grabbing the card base, and I believe I put it on the 7 1/2 side, and I'm scoring it at 3 1/2 so that I have a 1/2 inch overhang. You guys know I like an overhang card. That is definitely my style. You see that? It's overhanging. Love it. Long and skinny, and sometimes a little overhang or underhang, technically. So now we're going to glue using art glitter glue, of course, if it will come out. It will. There we go. And I just glue the glitter paper down. And this is that smooth glitter paper. I do not like glitter coming. I don't like glitter. Barely like rhinestones. So if I'm using glitter paper, you can rest assured it's the kind that's super duper duper fine and smooth. There's a guy who sells these specialty papers at the Scrapbook Expo and also the Carson Stamp Convention. And I need to go back and get some more of the specialty paper because I love it. It's expensive, but I just, oh, love it. It's so luxurious. It's so nice. And it punches up lots of cards. So I'm throwing some more art glitter glue down. And because I wasn't 100% sure that this was 7 1/4, I just figured I would glue everything down and then chop it off in one fell swoop with my guillotine. Um, so I'm trying to make sure that there's, it's in the center. It's not quite centered perfectly, but it's pretty good. And then here's a guillotine trimmer. Everybody should have one. I have a small one. Love that sucker. And I'm using a stamp set by May Made It, and it is a vertical stamp set. There's just not enough of these, in my opinion. If I were to make a stamp line, you can rest assured I would have some stamps that look like this. I was looking for one that said Merry Christmas, but there was not one. This one says Happy Holidays. I'll take it. It's in kind of the same, it's in a weird font, but hey, it works. So watch me goof up. So I was having a tough day with heat embossing, I guess. So I picked the stamp up and I'm looking at it to see if I got it perfect. And let's see if I got it perfectly. I put the black powder on, look at the bottom where it's supposed to say Happy Holidays. Where did it go? So I took it, I dusted everything off. I hit it with a static tool and then I redid it and it worked just fine. So you might have an anti-static brush that has powder in it, or you might have one of those pouches. I have both, and I use the brush for this one. So when I didn't get it right, I dusted it off completely, grabbed the static brush, went over it, and then stamped it, and I had no problems with that. Then I heated it up and melted the powder. You guys know I like to do matching envelopes, but I just couldn't think of what I wanted to do for this one that made sense for the size that it was. So I decided just to do a full glittery envelope, which means the envelope already is $2 because again that paper is expensive. So pretty though. Such a pretty, pretty paper. And it behaved really well in this punch, and as an envelope it just looks just gorgeous in person. I don't feel like this camera is really picking up how pretty that envelope paper is. So now I decided to round the corners, which I don't always do, and it gives it a little something. So now we are going to fold this up, and let's tape it down. I probably used a little art glitter glue with this tape just to make sure that it stayed down nice and secure. Sometimes with these sparkly papers and these specialized papers, the tape doesn't want to stick as well as it should. So every now and then I'll use a little glitter glue. I wrote in the card, I took pictures, and now I was like, what is, I got some cheap wax that I just don't care for. AMZ Deco has some beautiful wax that they have in these hearts or stars. Use that wax, get that wax. Don't get the cheap octagon wax or hexagon wax. So I mixed two colors of pink, and I have a Christmas tree seal. I need more Christmas seals, but I'm just not going to get them in enough time to bust them out for the card series. So I got to let that go. And there we go, all finished. Thanks so much for hanging out with me for day 3.